Welcome to another episode of Like It or take that back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Like It or Leave It. This is episode 7. Apologize, I wasn't here Apologize, I didn't do one yesterday. I was sick, really couldn't talk. I sounded like this the whole time, and I really didn't think that was a good idea to go do a podcast like this. So now I'm feeling a little bit better. My voice is back to normal, more or less. And, we're ready and let's get it started. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. I'm not going to spoil anything. Just let you guys hear it as it comes out. I do have topics for the last 2 days, obviously, since I did not do one yesterday. So I apologize for not being as current as I should be. First thing we got to talk about, because it just bugs me to a level that I cannot understand. The Warriors are fine. For some reason, and maybe it's just an American thing, maybe it's a sports fan thing, we love these things that are flashes in the pan, and we want them to immediately be considered great. We want them to be immediately considered timeless. But yet we sit there and find a way to hate on things that are consistent. Everyone hates the Patriots. They're consistent. Everyone hates the Spurs. They're consistent. Everyone hates Alabama football. They're consistent. The Golden State Warriors are as consistent an NBA team as we've seen since Kobe and Shaq Lakers and Jordan Bulls. But they lose 4 out of 6 games, and it's a panic attack. What's wrong with the Warriors? Oh, they're not going to repeat. Oh, they need Kevin Durant. Oh, Steph Curry's not that great anymore. Could you imagine if your team had the expectations that if they lost 4 out of 6 games during any stretch, the world was ending? The Cavaliers in the exact same time lost 4 out of 5, and everyone's kind of like, it's okay though. They play in the East, no big. They have LeBron, no big. They'll figure it out. The Golden State Warriors, to put in context here, just so everyone stops freaking out about how, quote-unquote, terrible they're doing. They are 53-14. They are, over the last 3 years, 192-38. The all-time record for a 3-year stretch in the NBA history is Jordan's Bulls 95-98. For them to tie the record, they'd have to go 10-5. Them to break the record, 11-4. Are we trying to say the Warriors don't have a 10-5 stretch in them? They can't pull that off? Win 2 out of 3 games? Can't win, get on 1 3-4 game win streak, go 11-4? For them to get to 204-42, or even to 203-43 over the last 3 years and tie the Bulls, not only is that impressive, because I don't think anybody would say that any of the guys on this team are as good as that guy who wore number 23 for the Bulls. Not that they haven't had great players, not that they haven't had great supporting roles, but no one's Michael Jordan. We get that. The Warriors are a jump shooting team, and not to just piggyback off of what some guys, a couple highly notable guys say, you live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot. To some degree, that's true. You will go through slumps. But I'm sorry. If your slump over a 3-year span shooting a lot of jumpers and shooting a lot of three-pointers is you losing 4 out of 6, I think you're doing something right. All the Warriors did was they're hitting the point they hit last year when they hit it closer to in the playoffs. They're just hitting it now. And I think that's the best case scenario for them. Because if they get it rolling when the playoffs come around, it's over with. Cleveland doesn't have a chance. San Antonio doesn't have a chance. If they are clicking by the time the playoffs come, they will get their second title in 3 years. Yes, every shooter goes through slumps. And this team full of shooters will go through slumps. They've avoided it better than other teams because they have 1, 2, 3 guys that it's generally hard for all 3 to go on a slump at the exact same time. But it has happened. Currently happened. They're still, this year, quickest to clinch a playoff, quickest team to ever clinch a playoff spot. They are, like I said, 10-5 away from tying the regular season record for wins over a 3-year stretch. 11-4 from breaking it. Both extremely feasible. Both most likely to happen. And they reinvented the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James, they're playing like the Warriors play. And all they're doing is, instead of it being Steph and more shooters around him, it's LeBron and more shooters around him. They've reinvented the way teams want to play basketball. Teams want to sit there and spread out, play small ball. And that's for the most part due to the fact that the Warriors took it and ran with it at such a high level of excellence that the other teams are trying to get. We're like, I've made this point before. We're copycats in America. We all love it. We see something that works. We all want to do it. Everybody wants to be the Warriors. Trust me. I've watched a lot of teams. I've rooted for a lot of guys. I'm not going to say my own personal team, but if my own personal team lost 4 out of 6, and that was the rough stretch out of a 3-year span, I think we're doing all right. Also, shout out to Steph Curry. They won last night, 106-104. He had 29 points on his 29th birthday. I love stats like that. It's one of those things you find on the Elias Sports Bureau. One player scored the most points, or scored the identical amount of points as years he's been alive. Side note, shout out to DeMarcus Ware. The 12-year veteran retired the other day. Easily going to be in the Hall of Fame. Another side note, I don't want to get into it too much, but Ezekiel Elliott, what happened with the pulling the girl's shirt down, stupid. But I'm not overly surprised considering Ezekiel Elliott's history, considering what they knew about him coming out of the draft. You knew he was going to be a headache. A great player, that's fine, but still going to be a headache. And we've got to, as fans, and I know it's really hard, is stop idolizing these guys in such a way that we think that these guys' character matches their talent. It almost never does. This is why the NBA has been extremely lucky to have LeBron James be the figurehead, because LeBron James has lived as well off the field and has been such a good role model for the league, has done almost nothing wrong in terms of legally, in terms of look bad, in terms of going out and doing obscene things. He's been perfect. But the majority of players, whether it's the Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, their morals and character do not match their talent. Some guys more so than others, but this is just something you're going to have to deal with Ezekiel Elliott. If you want him on his team, which you ask all those Cowboy fans, as much as they didn't like hearing that on Tuesday, they love what they see and hear 16 Sundays out of the year. So, take the good with the bad. Let's see here. We also got another thing. So, next I want to talk about. Sorry, I just had a brain fart there. Next thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to be really NBA centric these next couple days, obviously that and a little bit of March Madness. I am doing a March Madness thing on Friday. I promise you guys. I will have a bracket, and you guys will get to see it. So, but really NBA centric at the moment because of that's the only thing really going on. Like there's NFL offseason news, there's baseball, but the World Baseball Classic has more or less become soccer in America. Everybody in America recognizes soccer. Everybody more or less knows what it means, but no one really watches it that much. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. The World Baseball Classic gets more headline attention for the guys who go to play, or when they're picking the teams. When they're like, Buster Posey's going to be on the World Baseball Classic team, or Derek Jeter was going to be on the World Baseball Classic team, or Mike Trout's going to be on the World Baseball Classic team, Giancarlo Stanton. We love those kind of things because that's the individual player. That's the headline. Nobody really goes and watches the games like that. The World Baseball Classic is so much more an international thing, just like soccer, than it ever will be an American thing. America loves its baseball. It's an American pastime. And most people couldn't even tell you the scores of the games. They'd sit there and go, oh, yeah, the World Baseball Classic, I know Troy Tulowitzki's on the team, right? Yeah, but do you know what the score of the game was? You have power rankings for the World Baseball Classic, and most teams wouldn't even know, or most people wouldn't even know where the teams rank or what their records are or what most of the international players are. Like, think about it. How many international players can you name that aren't on a Major League Baseball team? And don't say it's talent, because there's a lot of really good talent out there. There's a lot of talent in Venezuela, Costa Rica, that is far better than the U.S. has produced. So, looked at a power rankings here, the World Baseball Classic. This is one of the few, once again, headlines. We got top 9 teams. Okay. Cuba, number 9. They're 2-2. Italy, 1-2. The Netherlands is number 7. Israel is number 6. They're 4-0, allowed only 4 runs. Venezuela, like I said, Venezuela's probably got as much baseball talent as anywhere in the world. Japan is number 4. Puerto Rico, I can't roll my R's, I'm trying to. They're number 3. Number 2, Dominican Republic. Number 1, United States. We're atop the power rankings, and the U.S. doesn't even care. That's not going to get people to go out and watch the game. It's not going to get people to go out and be like, oh, I got to go watch. Oh, what are you doing today after school? Oh, I got to go watch the World Baseball Classic. Dude, United States, they're playing Israel, and Israel's got these 2 guys on their team, but the United States, we've got these guys, and we're going to win. It gets one headline, and that's who's on the team, and after that, people don't care. It gets the same amount of attention, the same amount of time, the same amount of respect as preseason baseball. Because you know what time slot it's in? During preseason baseball. I love baseball. I'm not even going to act like I watched the World Baseball Classic. News and notes, if you want to, as such. Couple. The Cavs get back on track. They win 128-96 over the Pistons. Knicks beat the Pacers 87-81. Thunder beat the Nets 122-104. Russell Westbrook, once again, 20-plus point triple-double. That's when he's at his best. Pelicans thrashed the Trailblazers 100-77. And, as previously stated, the Warriors beat the Sixers 106-104. So, and I want you guys to hear me out here on this next one. The San Antonio Spurs. This is why they're going to win a title. I know I just talked about the Warriors and how they're okay. People need to stop stressing, stop overreacting. But at that same time, the Spurs are really good. And I mean really good. And I hope LaMarcus Aldridge gets back from the heart condition as soon as possible. I hope everything's okay for his health. I pray to his family. I've dealt with people in my family having heart conditions. It's not a fun thing to go through. I really do hope he gets back as soon as possible. On that note, the NBA this year is shaping up to be the Spurs year. You know who the Spurs remind me of in terms of how they're set up right now and how the league's set up right now? They remind me of a certain football team that just kind of sneaks in there and wins a couple Super Bowls. And generally, it's really hard to just sneak in there and win a couple Super Bowls. But if you look at one, New York Football Giants, they snuck in and won a couple Super Bowls. And let me tell you why the Spurs remind me of the Giants. You got 5 big reasons, or my 5 reasons why the Spurs are like the Giants and why they will win a title this year. There is reason number 1. There is no true great team in the league this year. If you look at it, I don't think the Cavs are a great team. I think the Cavs are one of the 5 greatest players ever and an all-star type, an all-pro player, and then a bunch of three-point shooters. I'm sorry, I'm not big on Tristan Thompson. The Warriors are a jump shooting team, which are currently in a slump, but if they don't break out of that slump, they're not a great team. The Rockets, James Harden and a bunch of three-point shooters. The Wizards, John Wall, Bradley Beal, and a bunch of three-point shooters. The Spurs have, depth-wise, number 1 through 9, the best depth and the best 9 to 10 people they can put into an actual NBA game who can all play, shoot, they can dribble, they can pass, they can play defense. It works. Their system is that good. They are the underdogs. No one expected the Giants to win a Super Bowl in either of the years they did. People got a little more hype built around it when the Giants started making their second run and comparing it to their first, but no one walked into that season going, "Oh, yep, this is the Giants' year. They're going to win it this year. They're going to make a deep playoff run this year." And the Spurs have basically been underdogs and counted out since the season started. It was just always the Warriors, Cavs can meet for the 3rd straight finals. The Spurs will be there, but they're going to lose out in the end. Don't worry about it. You think Greg Popovich hasn't? Now he's coached for almost 20 years now, and however he does his pep talks nowadays is up to him. But you're telling me he's not letting some of his young players know it's like, that's all you think of you guys. You can get to the second round of the playoffs, third round of the playoffs, and that's it. You're already out. Might as well stop playing. Number 3, defense. The Spurs, top to bottom, and as a team, play the best defense of any of the big-time teams. The Cavs have given up on defense. The Warriors play good defense, not as good without Durant because they don't have the size. The Rockets, James Harden can't spell defense. The Wizards, John Wall picks and chooses when he really wants to be. I think John Wall could be an all NBA first team defender, but it's pick and choose too much. Coach, Tom Coughlin, Greg Popovich, experience, poise, been there before, and big play. And I love this reason because the Spurs and the Giants needed, we know the Giants needed big plays to beat the Patriots in both of their Super Bowls. Mario Manningham and David Tyree is a legend for that one catch. The Spurs, their big play is a little different, but after watching Kawhi Leonard, what he did to Houston, where that big three at the end of the game and then the block down on defense and the amount of big shots he's been hitting, that is the Spurs' big play, is they have one of the top 2-3 closers in the league right now in Kawhi Leonard. Whereas if I want a guy with his hand with the ball in his hands during the end of the game, Kawhi Leonard is right there at the top of my list. LeBron will be in that list only because he has to have the ball in his hands, although Kyrie Irving's probably a better closer. John Wall's up there. James Harden's up there. But I give a slight edge to Kawhi Leonard. And to have that big play possibility, which you need in a series, which that big play is the difference between it going 2-2, 2-1, 3-2, 3-1. You need that kind of play. You need that kind of player. I'm telling you, watch out for the Spurs. And my last take, I want to get to here real quick. Can we just stop talking about LeVar Ball? I mean, I like the guy. I personally like what he says. I think he has a brand. He's trying to improve on that brand. He's trying to get that brand out there. I approve. That's fine. I like that. But at this point, he really is just the male version of the Kardashians, Mom. My sons can do this. My sons are this great. My sons are going to be worth $1 billion. My sons are going to be better than Steph Curry. My sons are going to be this. Okay. Then let him be that. Show us. And Lonzo Ball is great, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Like, Lonzo Ball's, I like how he's already presumed to go to the Lakers because of all the talk, but the Lakers don't even have a top 3 draft pick. But, you know, if the Suns are this great and he's this good, then let's see. I don't want to just hear him talk about how great they are. And he backs up what he says. When I've watched a couple of the interviews he's been on, the TV shows he's been on, and he backs up and has shown the way he talks now is the way he's always talked. And that's fine. Like I said, he's building his brand. That's fine. But just stop giving him attention on the pointless things. Like the Michael Jordan comments, oh, I could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. Wow. It's almost like you're the millionth person in the world to say that. You know how many people are right? 0. You could be right on your sons. You are probably right on your sons. And I love the fact that you're so confident in your children that you give them this, we can do whatever we want mentality. That's great. But he's like I said, he's just the male version of the Kardashians, Mom. Turning his sons into $1 billion. One playing basketball, the other, well, I don't really want to get into that topic. So, once again, apologize for not doing one yesterday. And even this one, I could feel my voice start to kind of dwindle as we started to get later into it. I will be back tomorrow. On Friday, we'll have the camera back. Friday, I'll have my full March Madness bracket filled out. I will have a new segment on Friday, which is called the Casual 5. So it'll be 5 questions from Matt, who's my camera guy, on just 5 questions from the casual sports fan. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about who really is the best player on some of these NBA teams, because I think that's getting misconstrued or lost in the shuffle. So we're going to show you who the real best players on each team are. And on that note, if you are watching, please go to my YouTube page, Like It or Leave It. I have a SoundCloud, Like It or Leave It. I just got a Twitter, which is at @like_leave. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You guys know where to find me. Please, any support, any kind of shout out, any kind of showing your friends, all that stuff helps. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Pussy.